has taken over.
Let's go.
It's Ferrall.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Steaks, chicks, stacks. Sounds like my trip to Pittsburgh this weekend for the Steelers-Ravens. We go to hour number 2. Make sure you get the SportsGrid app on iOS or Android. It's phenomenal. You're going to love it. You can watch the network on the app. You can listen to the network on the app. You can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High, and you can get in-game odds, stories, videos, highlights. It's all there. Check it out, the SportsGrid app on iOS and Android in the Play Store. Also, you can watch us now streaming on X every day, always. Just search SportsGrid-Live. One other note, you can get the Coast to Coast podcast and Ferrall on the Bench podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. So if you miss the show on the TV side, you don't miss the show. Just get the podcast. You get all 3 hours of the one, and then the Ferrall on the Bench one is a lot shorter. It's kind of a big sports blowout podcast. I think you'll dig them. All right, Carver High, here we go. Diving in again on these football games. We go to Pain Day, which starts tonight, Week 11 of the Link in Philadelphia.
It certainly does. A very big NFC East matchup. These are the top 2 teams in the division. Philadelphia, with a win, has a chance to really separate themselves and be in the driver's seat to win it. Now, the Eagles, of course, have started this year 2-2. They have ripped off 5 wins in a row to get to 7-2. And in that span, they've scored 28 points or more in 4 straight games. Offense was a problem early in the season. It has turned up, but Jalen Hurts says we still got more work to do.
You know, I'm not satisfied by any means. There's nothing to be satisfied about in my eyes because we're still growing. We're still a work in progress. You know, it's like there's no moment we're going to arrive this year. Some may think we have. Some may think we have it figured out, but we don't. You know, there's so much more out there for us to accomplish, and so we just want to continue to challenge ourselves to operate in the highest level we can and be efficient. And know the details and the ins and outs of what we're doing, and then have some integrity about what we're doing.
I got to be honest, like when I look at these 2 teams, they're so similar to me in talent and, you know, offensively, quarterbacks, defensively. I'm surprised the number is where it is, to be honest with you. I think they are so close, these teams. I think this should be more like a 2-point spread. I really do. This kid Daniels can flat out play, man. I was watching the Steelers play against this guy. He's a nightmare. He is a matchup nightmare.
Matchup nightmare indeed. I think he's also had, I believe, 2+ touchdowns on the ground for him in the last 2 games. He's been scoring he's been getting a lot of those tush pushes from inside the one, but he's had a couple longer ones too, 8 yards, 15 yards. He's had some good scrambles. Hurts has been playing good football. Jaden Daniels on the other side, of course, he's been very good for Washington this year. They are out to a 7-3 start. I don't think he's been the same offensively himself.
It's another game, and we got to go out there and give our best. And I mean, it's fun. You get to go and visit different atmospheres and stuff like that. So it'll be my first time playing the Phillies, so I'm excited.
Famous last words. All I know
see how
is
excited he is later.
Yeah, I think I gotta lean Philly. I really do. I think their problems started against the Steelers, and you know they didn't get it done. And now we talked about it with Gabe. If they lose this game, the snowball has been formed.
The snowball has been formed, and as I mentioned to you yesterday, you know that's going to put some distance between them and Philly in the division. They're going to be fighting for a wild card then, and there's a lot of teams this year in the NFC that are going to be in that bucket, fighting for that wild card. So they can have a chance to stay away from that crowd if they can get a win tonight. I'm still seeing mostly 3.5s. around. There were a couple 4s earlier today. There is still a couple places with some 4s, but mostly 3.5s. With the total, though, up to 49.5. I know that was 48.5 yesterday when we were talking about it. I like the Eagles tonight, Scotty. I think they win this game by a tutty or more, and they take care of business at home against Washington.
And as do I. And what about the total?
Total, I'm not as sold on. I'm not sure. I'm kind of staying away from the total tonight. I think it could get over, but I could also see 27-13 Philly tonight. Like, I could see something like that. So I'm probably not going to get involved.
Fair enough.
I root over. You know me. I want, I'll get some props, these tutties, things like that. I want overs all the time.
Right.
But unless I feel real good about it, I'm not going to play the over. So I'm not going to get involved there. I'm going to sit that one out. I do have for you, speaking of props, how about the most bet player props for tonight? And I gave you the Eagle number before. They've not covered at home their last 6 home games, dating back to last year.
Great.
We'll change that tonight. We'll break that schneid against Washington. Hurts under 9.5 rushing attempts. McLaurin under 62.5 receiving yards. A.J. Brown over 79.5 receiving yards. Barkley over 94.5 rush yards. And Gainwell over 13.5 rushing yards. The most bet player props for this evening in the game.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that Hurts under. I don't have a problem. I do have a problem with McLaurin under, to be honest with you. He's his favorite receiver. I mean, he hooks up with this guy left and right. I think McLaurin goes over that number. I think I agree with Brown, and then I agree with Barkley. And what's the last one there?
Kenneth Gainwell for 13.5 rushing yards, and he cleaned that last week.
I like that too. They give him the rock.
Yeah, and you got a chance if they're up. He might be in the game late. You never know. So I don't mind going with the Gainwell there either. How about the tutties for tonight, which always get us excited? For the first tutty tonight, and always play the first tutty as well as at any time, is I'm going A.J. Brown at 8-1. A.J. Brown has wrecked Washington the last couple of years, destroyed him, and still no Lattimore for Washington, who was the big corner that they traded for, and he's still not playing. A.J. Brown torments them again tonight. 8-1, first touchdown right out of the gate. I do like Scary Terry McLaurin, plus 190 to get into the end zone on the Washington side of things. Goddard looks healthy now. Caught a touchdown last week against Dallas. I think we get Goddard again. Price is still nice, plus 370 for him. Let's go get involved with Big Dallas.
Yeah, I like that price. And he gets it done, and he's involved in their offense big time. That's a nice price if he gets in the end zone. I think he might.
Let's ring the bell, especially A.J. Right out of the gate, up top, A.J. Brown. Boom.
Yeah, I can see Smith having one as well. He's been lighting it up. And, again, I agree with that McLaurin. He loves throwing to McLaurin.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Talking about the Tyson Paul fiasco tomorrow in Jerry's World is where they're fighting. And I got to tell you, I tried to watch the Netflix 3-part series on it. I got through 30 minutes of the first episode, and I literally had to dive off because it was so awful. I mean, it's just so awful.
I'm like I was saying to you, I'm surprised that you can even bet on this thing. Like it is kind of shocking to me because it is like is it a real fight? I guess. I mean, obviously they're going to be in there hitting each other, but like it's not a real fight. And I don't know what's been said beforehand. I mean, you know that McGregor and Mayweather thing was a complete scam. We're going to dance around for a few rounds and then I'll knock you out. I just feel like you got that again here, and not all states are letting you bet it either. No. You can't bet it in New York.
This guy,
you can bet it in Jersey. So
he says he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez. I got news for you. Literally, so Mike Tyson's 58 years old, right? And we've already seen Holyfield at 58 get knocked out in a fight. But Mike Tyson's 58 years old, and he just smokes 5 million doobies a day and eats mushrooms, everything else. And he admits it. And then let me tell you something. Canelo Alvarez would literally, I think, kill him dead in the ring. Like, I think they would take him out in a body bag. I really do. And first of all, I don't believe for 1 minute that Canelo Alvarez would ever stoop to that level to fight this YouTuber, whatever he is. I know he's got an amazing following with basically millions and millions of morons love him. So we'll see. He's favored to beat him, but Canelo Alvarez would never take that fight. And if he did, he'd kill him. He'd kill him.
You have to think that real legitimate fighters like Canelo Alvarez and anybody else, like all these guys you talk to when you go out to these fights in Vegas, they have to look at this and be like, this is why is everyone interested in this and no one cares about us? We're legitimate fighters, real fights. This is a sham. And that's you know how much more juice and eyeballs that fight's going to have Friday night compared to any Alvarez fight like in the last 2 or 3 years? A ton more. And those guys, you're right, he wouldn't stoop to that level because I think legitimate people in the boxing business think that this is nonsense. And they can't, and it tarnishes the game. The best thing that would ever happen to them is if Canelo actually did fight this guy, and I wouldn't go as far they can kill him in the ring, but to knock him out in a round and just destroy him and be like, this is what you guys go and watch.
I think Tank Davis would kill him dead in a body bag. I think Caleb Plant would kill him dead, body bag. I'm not joking. Like, this guy, he fights MMA fighters and knocks them out, and they're all washed up MMA fighters. He's never fought anyone legitimate yet, ever. Everything he does is a farce. Let's just face facts. I mean, it's bottom line. Every guy he's fought, Woodley, all these guys are washed up when he fights them. They have nothing left.
He's fought. He's fought Nate Robinson, Michael Perry.
It's embarrassing.
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva's like 100 years old and shot.
Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Nate Diaz. These are the guys he's fought.
Nate Diaz is a complete pothead loser who's done. He'll fight anyone, anywhere for money so he can buy his pot. Honestly, let's get real here. Nate Diaz and his brother. They're bringing his brother out of the closet to fight in the UFC soon this year at the turn of the year. And he's another one that's washed and finished. He's going to get killed.
I can't believe that people are. Mike Tyson, he's 59 years old.
If you watch him on this Netflix thing, you know what you'll do is legitimately, at some level, you'll feel sorry for him. Because when you watch him, it's embarrassing. He is a mess. He is such a mess. Like, he can't even talk. He can't even do interviews. It's difficult to watch him struggle through life. And, like, he's acting like he's training hard for this thing, and they show him training and everything else. And all I see is this old man who, let's just face facts, he fought, I think, Roy Jones a few years ago, right? And he got into it with him a little bit. But his last real pro fights that were the end of his career, all you have to do is go back and look. I mean, he got destroyed. He didn't have anything left. He's brain dead. He's literally mush. And so I don't care what happens in that fight tomorrow night. But honestly, if that kid lands one shot to that guy's head, he's going down. Just like Holyfield did a month or two ago when he got punched once and he went down. They don't have anything left upstairs. They're literally mashed potatoes. Honestly, I don't care how fast Mike Tyson can hit a speed bag or the trainer that trains with him, and they sit there and try to sell you how hard his punches are. And, like, ooh, he's really hitting hard. I mean, you get hit with one of these. Now, look, I'm sure 90% of the people I saw today are like rooting for this guy to win. That they're betting on him to win. They're betting on Mike Tyson to destroy this kid. And the funny thing is about the kid is he literally wins every fight he has. I mean, he fights all these bums and losers and tools and wannabes and washed burnouts, but he beats all of them. And not only that, as it's gone on, he's beat them senseless. He gets better at it. He's gotten better at beating their ass. Like, he's really knocking guys the F out now. But the people he is fighting in these fights, they're embarrassments. I mean, they're just all of them, literally every one of them. It's so sad and pathetic. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't even be allowed.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Fortunately, I missed you picking your own cheek because I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Great, Mommy just brought it up. The Paddy Power, they had the Irish sports book. They brought a guy in from Dublin to ask a question at the press conference for this Paul Tyson fight, whatever you want to call it. And he brought this Irish guy, got up to the mic, and he walked up there with like a 90-year-old guy with the 90-year-old guy had on the sports book. He had on the, whatever you call it, the robe. He had the robe on, and he had gloves on, and he was like 90, and he was 90, and he said, "We want Jake Paul next. We want the winner of this fight. We want Jake Paul to take on Grandpa Jones here. Grandpa's like 95, and he's wearing the robe, and he's jabbing. He's older than Biden. It was the funniest thing you ever saw."
It's outstanding. It really is.
So even people are making fun of him, like the media. The media makes fun of him, and he gets all worked up about it. He brags about how rich he is.
He wants to be seen as legit. Let's go. NFL Week 11, of course. We talked about tonight's game, but we have big games on Sunday, too. The Chiefs and the Bills. It does not get bigger than that. Sean McDermott, the head coach of Buffalo, of course, he's been on the sideline for every Mahomes versus Allen matchup that we have had so far in their careers. And he says it is absolutely worth the price of admission watching those two guys.
Yeah, really fascinating to watch. When you think about the different matchups, the multiple matchups, I think I counted the other day, there's been, what is this, 7, 8, something like that. That's a little bit unusual when we're not in the same division as well. So, but sometimes, you come across interactions like that through, scheduling but also then playoffs and things. And so I think it's been great for the league. I think it's great for the fans to be able to watch these two elite quarterbacks go at it, even though they're not really playing against each other, as everyone likes to make it out to be.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like, they both have a ton of respect for one another and their game, right, which is also cool to see.
Well, look, I think that he's tripping, for one. And I think the league demands it, that they play each other, because I think that's what football fans want to see.
It is what football fans want to see, and it is of course, one of the marquee events here this Sunday at 425 East up in Buffalo at Highmark. We've been giving you a lot of numbers between these two this week, and we have more today. How about the stats this year? Coming into this game, now most of the time it's all slanted. Mahomes has better numbers, but this year it's actually Allen. Better quarterback rating, more total passing yards, more total passing touchdowns, less interceptions. Allen having a great year, as we've discussed a lot, especially considering he's turned over pretty much his entire weapons, all his weapons, and certainly the wide receivers. He's got all new guys there.
I mean, listen, you're never going to hear me say a bad word about him. He's a badass. The guy does it all. He carries the team on his back. He's a great quarterback, great leader. He's got huge stones. Guy runs the ball better than anyone. His size he's like a brute. I mean, he takes hits like nothing I've ever seen. And he's tough as hell. He gets up. He just keeps playing. I mean, think about how many games this guy has missed in his career. You can count him on one hand. The guy shows up for work every Sunday, come hell or high water.
Lunch pail he shows up with every week. I love this one too. Most offensive touchdowns prior to turning 30 years old. Now, I've seen some Chief and Mahomes fans grumble about this, Scotty. I wanted to show you this. Manning, 253. Marino, 250. Mahomes, 244. Allen, 242. They don't like this list because of all the rushing touchdowns that Allen has. They say he shouldn't be on this list with those names because he has so many rushing touchdowns and that it doesn't count that he gets rushing touchdowns. That's what they all say in the comments.
That's hilarious. They both count the same.
And he will be at the head of that list in 2 years because he's got a year on Mahomes, and he'll go past him after Mahomes turns 30 next year. This is now 2.5 still as we get ready for this Sunday, and still trending up with the 46.5 for the total on this game. So that's what we got. We will just dive into this more tomorrow, but we're on the Bills. Let's just put that out there.
We're on the Bills, and I'm scared to death. He's 12-1-1 when he's a dog. I'm scared to death of the spread. I'm scared to death of Mahomes. I'm scared to death of the Chiefs. And I wish ill will on all of them.
Both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. But that's what your grandma would do when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is the kickoff of the second half of Coast to Coast on a Thursday. If you notice the time, we do a 3-hour show, and this would be the second half kickoff as we get ready to round the corner and head for home, the home stretch, the coup de grace. So we will now refer to this point of the show every day as the second half kickoff. It's money time.
I like that. We could do that. I got no problem there. So let's go. We're kicking off the second half with the Ravens and the Steelers. You'll be there, the place the Steelers play on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, Lamar Jackson in his career, Scott, he's had some problems with the Steelers. Now, know this. The Steelers have beaten the Ravens 7 of the last 8 times they have played, which, of course, would be in the last 4 years. Lamar's only played in half of those games because he's been hurt in 4 of them. But they're 1-3 in the games Lamar has played. He's 1-3, only 4 tutties, 7 picks, 5 fumbles, has not played well against them. Tell us, Lamar, why is that?
I don't know what it is, man. It's just that I believe that rival atmosphere. I believe last year we supposed to have them, but things just didn't go our way. You know, the football guys wasn't on our side. But it's a whole nother year. It's a new year. I'm looking forward to the game.
So am I. We'll see you Sunday, baby. And there's no one I respect more than him watching him play football. But, I got to tell you, I've gone to several of these games, and it is as good as the playoffs. And I have been to 15 Super Bowls. And this game has the same feel as a playoff or Super Bowl. It really does. And when you're there and this guy is over center and he drops back and starts scrambling around and you got guys like TJ Watt chasing him around the football field and you're in that crowd, because I'm down like 15 rows from the field and you can literally feel the place shaking. You can feel it shaking. And it is the most unbelievable atmosphere you can even fathom. And it is the most exciting moment in sports is watching the Pittsburgh Steelers take on this particular individual. Like watching him run around and you are just scared to death of every second that he has a football in his hands, that something bad is going to happen to you. And then when you beat him, you're just euphoric. It is a rush. And I am telling you, I'm going to this game. It's a rush, baby.
It is a rush, baby, that's for sure. We played that clip of Tomlin yesterday talking about guys who have switched sides. Obviously, Patrick Queen, this is his first time facing his old team in Baltimore. And, he hasn't really talked about it much. Seemed yesterday he didn't want to talk about it, really. But you could tell he's still holding some bad feelings of his old team, that they basically didn't want him and didn't offer him a deal last year. Here's Patrick Queen.
Do you feel like that wasn't the case in Baltimore? Are you frustrated in any sort of way about the way that things ended there?
See, I want to answer this. I wasn't offered to go back. I don't know if I said that or not, put that in the public or not. I wasn't wanted back. I didn't get an offer back, and it's definitely kind of upsetting, being there for 4 years and the bond that you grow with your teammates and stuff. But at the end of the day, like I said, if your first few months, you definitely go through those feelings. And now, after playing games, you just go by. You just want to win games. You want to win with your teammates, your new teammates. You want to bond with those guys. Everything that you do is for this organization that you're at now. And like I said, I will have feelings. Obviously, anybody in my position would this week. So I'm just taking one day at a time, and whatever happens, happens.
Listen, this guy is another one. He is a violent individual. I love the fact that this guy is on my football team. I mean, to tell you, have you seen this guy? He is ripped out of his mind. And when he's playing, he is so lit. He is just lit. He's all over the football field. He is another one of these ball hawk guys. He's crazy.
I know they traded for Smith last year with Roquan Smith, and I get that. Imagine not even offering that guy a deal to come back and play for your team. He's a badass, as we've talked about plenty of times. And it sounds that I think he's going to have a little extra juice against the Ravens, because it sounds like he wants to give Harbaugh DaCosta and those guys the business in the front office.
That's right.
So I expect a big play out of Patrick Queen.
I want him to
Sunday
be Ferguson from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Arthur Smith says there is a Justin Fields package of plays that they just might use on Sunday. Here's what I know. If I was the coach or any coach of a team, would you be sharing that information if it was serious? Like, why would you tell everybody? Why would you tell everybody, hey, guys, I'm going to let you know, we have stuff for Justin, and I think this is the week that we're going to bust it out. It's gamemanship. It's to make Harbaugh and the Ravens go, oh, I guess we got to prepare for Fields. They're not running anything with Fields on Sunday. That's all just nonsense. Why would he tell him? You think Tomlin would want him? Why the hell did you tell him that they were going to run a Justin Fields package? It's all planted. They planted that with Arthur Smith just to make them think a little bit more. That's all that was.
And not only that, how about this? I saw today that Art Smith is like one of the names that are popping up for head coaching jobs. And I thought to myself, we already saw that movie, and it was horrible. I left before the movie ended. He was horrible in Atlanta. I don't care what anybody says. He's in the perfect job right now to save his ass, his career. That team is, they went from 20 a game to 31 a game. It went from 250 yards a game to 400 yards a game. It's making him look good. He should just keep doing that, because any talk of him being a head coach again in the NFL, I think, is way ahead of itself.
Way ahead. When you had the record that he had down in Atlanta, it takes more than half a season of good offense in Pittsburgh to say, oh, you know what, we got to get this guy back to the front of the line. Look at this guy. Slow down, okay? He needs a couple years, maybe even more than that, of consistently putting points on the board in Pittsburgh before anybody's going to go and drag Arthur Smith back, a stale bread as a head coach. He was awful. -3 for the Ravens, 48.5. No change since yesterday for that one.
I got, everyone thinks, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this, by 65%, they're going to win it.
Oh,
and the Steelers 3.5. I already bet it at 3.5.
We told you Monday, get the 3.5 because it probably isn't going to stick around all week, and sure enough, it has not. Next, the Jets and the Colts Sunday. Now, Steichen told us early in the week that it was going to be Joe Flacco. Something happened in the 36 hours after that, because here's Steichen yesterday I basically saying, I changed my mind. It's going to be Anthony Richardson now.
I've said the process for a long time. And what I mean by that, it's the attention to detail in everything he does, from the classrooms to the walkthroughs to practice to the weight room, all those little things, right? It's just got to be at a higher standard. And that's what was talked about, and that's where we went with it. And so that was discussed with him 2 weeks ago, and those are the conversations that took place. And over the last 2 weeks, he's made strides in those areas, big-time strides, becoming a pro's pro. And is he a finished product? No, he's not. And it's my job to help him get there, along with the rest of the coaching staff. But he's a hell of a talent. Like I said, we've never lost faith or belief in him and his abilities. And he's shown strides. He really has. And with that being said, he will be our starter again. He's going to start this week. He's going to start the rest of the season. All right, and we're going to go from there.
I don't, at this point, believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth anymore. He's flipped more than pancakes.
I'm sorry. There is no way that he made that decision. That right there was Irsay walking into his office after he told everybody on Monday morning Flacco was staying as the starter, and he said, put my number 5 overall pick kid in there and have him playing quarterback. Enough of this nonsense. He was told to do that. That was not his decision.
You're right.
To put Anthony Richardson back.
You're right.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Importantly, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when he goes here on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
So we're still talking pain day skinny, but sometimes Spunu supersedes the football. And Carver High, I know you have a baseball story to tell everyone.
Yes, and this really interests me and you and some Yankee fans out there. They found the replacement, it looks like, for John Sterling in the Yankee radio booth. And it's one of our favorites, Dave Sims, of course. The Soul Man, one of the original voices on WFAN in New York when it started in 1986, and it's been the play-by-play voice of the Mariners on TV for a very long time. Always been a New York guy, despite being in Seattle with the Mariners. Coming back home, and he'll be the Yankee radio voice alongside Susan. Looks like a couple-year deal. Listen, this is not a long-term answer for the media. He's 71, but John was 86. So
let's get a 5-year stretch here from the Soul Man, and I'm good friends with him. He's just the greatest guy ever. I don't think there's anyone in the world that doesn't love Dave. He's really an incredible human being, just a fantastic guy. Reaches out. Like when I was having open heart surgery, here's Dave Sims on the phone. Like what? Like this guy's really special, cool guy. I already reached out to him this afternoon to congratulate him. He's back home where he belongs.
Yes, he is. That's great news that Dave will be doing the Yankee games now going forward. Let's get through the rest of this NFL that we have. The Chargers and the Bengals on Sunday night in SoFi. Of course, the Bengals are really hanging by a thread here. They need to start reeling off some wins if they are going to get back in this thing and get that last playoff spot in the AFC. Here's Joe Burrow. Of course, him and Jamar Chase have been lighting it up all year long. And Burrow was having some fun yesterday. He had a lot of laughs at his press conference. But here he is telling everyone all the ways that Jamar Chase tells him that he wants the ball.
Sometimes it's on the sideline. Sometimes it's individual conversation in the locker room. Sometimes it's through you guys. There's a lot of different ways that a receiver can tell you, hey, get me the ball.
Have you ever said it in those words, give me the effing ball?
I'm not sure he said that directly to me, no. But maybe a glance tells me that. That might be the first one. Sorry, guys.
Joey's still getting involved. Look, I want to know what the number is because the Chargers have the fewest points allowed defense in the league. They have Orange Sherbert playing great. Jim Harbaugh is winning. They are 6-3. They look fantastic. They're a playoff team right now. And I still feel like the Bengals are going to go in there Sunday night and beat them. I really do. I think that Joe Burrow, they can't afford another loss. This is it for them. This is it. Do or die desperado.
It is do or die desperado. The Chargers are now -1.5 on Sunday night.
I mean,
and the
I'm
totals,
on the Bengals.
And the total's 47.5. The Cincinnati's been scoring, as you know. You see, they don't win games because they can't stop anybody, but they've been scoring tons of points. That Bengal offense with Silk and Chase against what the Chargers D has been doing this year, that's going to be fun on Sunday night, and will determine the game. And, the Charger offense isn't great, but the Bengals defense sucks. I think it's actually an over, despite how good the Charger D is. I like the over 47.5 in the game. I think both teams can get into the 20s. And I think I lean with you on the Bengals here. Because if they lose this game, they'll be 4-7, and that's almost, what do you got? You got to run the table to get to 10-7 at that point. If you go to 4-7, and they still got to play. They got to play the Steelers twice. They got 2 games with the Steelers. They got, they have a lot of tough games left down the stretch.
Listen, I got to be honest. I'm worried about playing them. This guy Burrow can beat you 6 ways till Sunday. Like, he is the real deal. And, I think they've had some horrible luck. I have never seen a team score 33 points a week on average and they lose. Like, the record for teams that score 33 points in NFL games is it's staggering. I think I sent you something. It's staggering. They're like 25-3, except the Bengals, who lose every time.
20. I actually have that here for where was the 25-3. You gave me the passer rating stuff with Burrow versus Herbert. Was the numbers that I had there, but I'll scroll back and I'll get a couple.
I'm telling you that teams that score 33 or more, the record is staggering for the wins, except for the Bengals. The Bengals score 33, they lose every game they play.
They lose all the time, that's for sure. I'll save this. I'm going to give you one more Spew News thing because I actually think it's important, and we mentioned this in the break too, which was the Chiefs are going to be without their big kicker, Harrison Butker, out
what a shame.
This Sunday, and he's going to go on IR and miss at least 4 weeks.
What a shame.
He's got to get a meniscus injury cleaned up. Now, normally I really wouldn't, kickers are kickers, but not him, Scotty. How many big kicks does he hit for the Chiefs, Butker? So that actually is
tons.
Very important, especially when you talk about this game, which is the biggest game going this week. That's huge up in Buffalo that they're not going to have their kicker. They signed this hack that was with the Jets last week off of their practice squad. So he'll be basically the kicker for the Chiefs on Sunday in Buffalo. I like hearing that. I'll take it. I don't care. No Butker. Get him out.
That is an enormous loss to their cog. I mean, bottom line is that guy's, he's good for 3 or 4 field goals every week.
And he's good for clutch ones. He's
Game
good for
winners,
54 yarders in the wind with 10 seconds left. Like, he's good for those kicks. So I'm glad he won't be there. We'll come back. It's been a long couple of weeks for the Chicago Bears. I got Caleb Williams for you, basically denying that he had anything to do with the offensive coordinator getting fired. Eberflus denying that ownership's big meeting with him with Monday. They weren't giving him a vote of confidence. It's getting worse and worse in Chicago for all of these guys. We'll talk about that when we come back.
It very well should be. I mean, they have fallen off a cliff.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you was here on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We'll talk to one of our all-time favorites, Tim Graham, at the top of the hour in Shabbat to Buffalo, getting ready for the Bills and Chiefs, and see what he thinks of that Butker loss out of the lineup for Kansas City. Looking forward to that game on Sunday. Certainly, I told you before, Carver High, I'm very upset that I'm going to the Steeler-Raven game in Pittsburgh and that I have some whacked-out dinner reservation at some fancy restaurant, and I'm really upset about it. Like, I may do the whole Morency with the phone on the table in the five-star restaurant with the game going. I want to watch the Bills and Chiefs. I don't care about eating at the fancy restaurant. So I think I'm going to ruin it for everyone. I'm going to start drinking and have the game going and the volume turned up. And they'll say, you're not allowed to do that in here. And I'll say, get away from me.
I'd pass on the dinner if that game was going on.
Pull out,
I mean, that's like
I told the dude, let's just order a pizza and get drunk.
Game of the year.
Come on,
you got to watch the Bills and the Chiefs. It's the number one matchup this week. Right after,
horrible idea to go to dinner right after the Steeler game when that game's on. You moron.
Don't want to miss that one. Let's go to the Bears next. Of course, they've had a rough couple of weeks. They fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron earlier this week. The report is that a lot of the players had a say in that. Caleb Williams says, don't look at me. I just work here.
I would say the frustration, I think, was seen. But input and things like that, I don't think that goes much into, me having control over something like that, like something that just happened. In that situation, I think the frustrations were shown and seen, but input and things like that, there's not much input that I think I'd put in. Being the young guy, being the rook, going out there trying to make plays for the guys and win for the Bears. That could affect much of anything of their decision.
Yeah, right.
You don't do that either. Win for the Bears. That's part of you doing nothing. Yeah. He does nothing. He has no say. I mean, honestly,
he's no say.
The guy Warren is calling the shots in Chicago, and you said it this week. We discussed this. At some level, one of these days they're going to whack everybody except him, and then he's going to pick who he wants running the Chicago Bears. They have been, frankly, in my view, one of the laughing stocks of the NFL since '85. I mean, let's just face facts. They can't even win playoff games when it's 20 yards away from them. Remember I'll never forget when Pinero Shankopotamus that kick in the playoff game. I mean, honestly, the Bears suck. let's just stop.
We are getting closer to Eberflus probably going too. Now, Monday, he had a big meeting with George McCaskey, Kevin Warren, and Ryan Poles. So the media asked him yesterday if they gave him any assurances that he would have his job going forward or at the end of the season. Here he is.
You know what? We were not talking about that. We were talking about answers going forward. And that's what the conversation was about.
Yeah, well,
because they're not going to tell you when they're going to do you.
No, they would not tell him that. They will strip that thing down to the studs at the end of the year is what they are going to do. They have the Packers coming into Soldier Field this week. Packers off of a bye, 5.5-point favorites on the road. 40.5 is the total.
I mean, come on. The Packers are a playoff team. The Packers are better in all facets. I say they go in there and beat them.
Better.
I think the Bears are.
I agree.
They're right on the edge of Fork City. I mean, they are right there. Like there's the kid's about to stab them with the fork. I mean, at the dinner table, right on the top of the hand, right to the top of the hand.
Just stay under that 8.5 for me. That's it. Stay under 8.5. And I'll be happy, which we're looking good with here. We get another one this week. We're looking real good for that under 8.5 if we can get there. All right, I'll give you a couple of these other guys tomorrow. We'll do Dan Campbell, Aaron Rodgers, etc. Then the NFL Combine, I know you're always excited about. There was talk of maybe leaving Indianapolis. That's not going to happen. They will stay in Indianapolis at least through 2026. So 2 more years down in Indy. They love Indy because they have all those tunnels under the road with the hotels. It's easy
10 minutes from the airport to downtown.
10 minutes from the airport.
Then when you get back to the airport to leave, you got the Pacer Lounge for breakfast right there before you catch your flight.
They love the shrimp cocktail at the Elmo joint. They love that. So they never leave it in Indianapolis. Come on. They love that.
Everyone love it there. Great stadiums, great arenas, great hotels.
Yeah.
I don't think there's nightlife there. I really don't. I've never even seen a hooker.
No. Wow. Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have a Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.